Today we are going to be cooking up lots of food with a main focus on healthy sides, desserts, and appetizers. We're going to be using leftovers, combining with fresh ingredients, and some items we have in the house that we harvested last fall we'll be using also. So this will be interesting. And the first thing I'm going to do is, oh boy, I'm going to cut up this pumpkin and roast it in the oven. We'll be using it later on for dessert, soup, or appetizer, or all three combined, because it's a very large pumpkin. It's just rolling away. Like a bowling ball. I hope it's okay and not rotten inside. Looks good. Let's clean it out. I'm just going to take out all the seeds. I use my hands mostly to remove the seeds, but I also use a spoon. You can do this because it's the seeds in the stringy part of the pumpkin will stick to your hands. That's a little tricky. And I'll be attempting to grow some of these pumpkin seeds in the garden this year. This pumpkin was harvested last, I believe it was early October. Yeah. It was either late September or early October. Then we're just gonna cut this in sections. You can actually roast a whole pumpkin in the oven, but it takes a very long time. I like to do it in sections so it doesn't take quite as long. And preheat your oven to 425. And we're just gonna roast this the way it is. I'm not gonna add olive oil. And I use as much of the pumpkin as I possibly can, even the top of the pumpkin. I just cut around the stem. I have to use 2 sheet pans to roast this pumpkin. Pumpkin is so large, I have to do another round of roasting. I may do that tomorrow morning. So I'm just gonna store the rest of this pumpkin in the refrigerator for now. This will take 50 to 55 minutes in a preheated oven at 425 Fahrenheit. The pumpkin is very well roasted and the skin is tender and soft. So what I do is I just peel off the peeling like this. And I find also that it's easy to peel with a paring knife, a small paring knife, if you're having trouble taking off the peelings. Some of the peelings are easy to remove and some are not on the pumpkin. It's a fickle pumpkin, let me tell you. And we are going to be pureeing the pumpkin in stages. I don't like it to be more than just a little over halfway full. And then I sort through it a little bit, the big chunks. I want to get this processed the best that we can. Yes, now we have it very well pureed. I'm going to go through and puree the rest of the pumpkin and we'll see what we have. I'm going to show you the second batch I chopped up in smaller pieces. So I believe this is going to be easier to process. Here we yielded 2 quarts of pureed pumpkin. This is 8 cups. And we still have more pumpkin to roast and puree in the morning. Right now I'm going to put a lid on this and stick it in the refrigerator. At the end of the video, we'll be doing some pumpkin recipes. You don't want to miss that. Now we're going right into preparing and cooking healthy side dishes with vegetables like lettuce, spinach, broccoli, apples. It will be so much fun when you see those healthy ingredients and how you can turn them into something really, really delicious. I'm sauteing a healthy dish, cream spinach. Just going to saute all of the spinach with avocado oil, salt, and pepper. Just cook it on medium heat until it reduces down. I'm just going to drain out most of the water. I'm just going to use a little bit of sour cream. Okay, and mix that in. Just a little bit of sour cream goes a long way with spinach. And here we have our creamed spinach. Very simple. Flavor it any way you like with seasonings you like. For a healthy garnish on the spinach, we are using chopped almonds and green onion. 1 bag of cooked spinach is for 2 people. Now, if you want to serve for 4, I would get 2 bags. Depends on the serving size, but we'll be sharing this. We're making it beautiful. And you can serve this as a side dish with any main entree. Here we are serving the creamed spinach with pan-fried cod and leftover roasted sweet potatoes. This is a beautiful dish, and it doesn't look like it's on a budget, but it is. It's very economical, healthy, and delicious. Now I need to find a way to use up this leftover rotisserie chicken. And Danny and I have both been craving chicken salad, and we want to increase the amount of food because it doesn't look like much. So I made my dressing with mayonnaise, ranch dressing, and Dijon mustard. So I mixed my dressing in with the rotisserie chicken, and it looks like it's going to be way too much. Well, we have other ingredients to add to this that will really multiply the amount of food that will soak up that delicious dressing. But before I add those ingredients, I'm going to add in some everything bagel seasoning. And this is really good stuff. My husband bought from Giant Eagle, and I thought at the time he was paying way too much money for it, but a little bit goes a long way. Now I'm going to chop up the healthy ingredients to add to the chicken salad. Celery being number 1 because this celery is getting old and I need to use it up. So I'm just going to chop it up and throw it in there, and it will add crunch to the chicken salad. And we're also adding chopped fruit to balance out the savory flavors in the dressing. Then we mix all that together and we put it on a nice bed of lettuce, and this can be served for lunch or starter appetizer. And this is what I reserved in another bowl for sandwiches or an appetizer tomorrow. Now we're going to roast some broccoli, and I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit of salt and pepper. You don't need much. Keep it simple. We're not using garlic because I'm on a special diet. And we'll just spread the broccoli on a parchment-lined sheet pan. I'm going to roast this on high at 450 Fahrenheit. So this will blacken it slightly, but I'm thinking my husband will really enjoy this flavor. You bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. The broccoli looks really good, and I tasted it a little floret, and it was delicious. And I think my husband will like it without the lemon, but I'm going to put lemon on mine. And we're serving the broccoli with cheddar brats from Aldi and dirty rice. Now it's the next day. I'm going to be roasting some asparagus and butternut squash. The asparagus is for dinner tonight. We're going to use it with some leftovers and with the meat entree. And the butternut squash is for breakfast tomorrow. It's something that you probably wouldn't expect, but it will be really good for a breakfast item tomorrow. And I love using these healthy ingredients as much as possible in all of the meals that I prepare throughout the week. Now I'm just drying the asparagus with a towel because when I put it in this pan right here with olive oil, I want the olive oil to adhere to the asparagus. And drying the asparagus after I washed it helps ensure that. And then I'm going to take the larger ones and remove the woody part, and it just snaps right off. You can tell pretty much. You can put a stack of them together and snap off the woody part. That will save time. I'm using the pan for a very large mixing bowl right now. I don't do much olive oil. It doesn't require very much. I'm going to go ahead and use my hands. I'll just have to wash them afterward because the oil really makes your hands messy. Then I have 2 pans so I can line it evenly. 1 layer each. I put both pans in the oven and roast no more than 15 minutes. While the asparagus is cooking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and process the butternut squash. I'm just going to remove the seeds. And it's real easy. We just roast it the same way we did the pumpkin, but it will not take nearly as long. Probably will only take 40 minutes. The asparagus is done. It looks nice and crispy. I'm going to transfer the asparagus from this pan to that pan and just let it hang out for a little while before I put the meal together. In the meantime, I have my butternut squash ready, and I'm going to use the same parchment lined paper. This is easy peasy. And we'll put the butternut squash in the oven to roast for 35 to 40 minutes. That's a pork roast from Aldi Mesquite. My husband will put barbecue sauce on that, and we have leftover stuffing. This made a complete meal. Looks really good. From the butternut squash, we yielded a cup and a half of puree, which is normal for an average to small size butternut squash. I'm only going to use 3/4. I'm going to make half a recipe of butternut squash muffins. This will not be a tutorial, but I will link the recipe in the description of this video. We have the dry ingredients here. We have the wet ingredients here. We're just going to combine them together. This will be the batter for our muffins. We filled our muffin tins. This is half a recipe. I thought I was going to get 10, but I got 8 here. So with the full recipe, it's possible you can get 16 to 20 muffins. You're supposed to fill it 2/3 full. Some of these might be 3/4 full. So we'll see how these turn out. Bake in a preheated oven at 400 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. The muffins are done and looking good. And here we have a very healthy breakfast with the butternut squash muffins, some fruit, boiled eggs, and for calcium we have kefir. From one large pumpkin we yielded 12 cups of pumpkin puree, which is equivalent to 3 quarts. So that's quite a bit. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to use it for. I have 2.5 cups for the pumpkin soup right here. 1 cup of pumpkin puree for the garbanzo bean and pumpkin dip. And 1 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree for the cheesecake. And we also have lots of pumpkin puree left for me to freeze in containers. In the soup we have chicken broth, a little garlic powder, and a little onion. And the pumpkin puree, of course. Very simple ingredients. I did add a little bit of pepper also. And extra water, according to the recipe. And when this starts to boil, I'll turn it down to simmer and cook it for 10 minutes. To the soup, I'm going to add a small amount of milk. If you have cream, that might be a better choice. Oh, doesn't that look good and creamy? We'll see what it looks like plated up in a bowl with sour cream. This has the comforting look of tomato soup, but it's pumpkin soup. In the food processor, again, I have 1 can of garbanzo beans that have been washed and rinsed. And I'm going to add the pumpkin puree. Lemon juice, sea salt, garlic powder, and spices. Since I don't have tahini, we're going to use a little bit of olive oil. We have our pumpkin garbanzo bean dip along with some Big Dipper chips and carrot sticks for a really tasty and healthy, very healthy appetizer. This is the last recipe, pumpkin cheesecake. It's going to be crustless and we're using evaporated milk. I'm going to give you the recipe on the screen and we're going to play some music. Cheesecake is done and overbaked slightly, but it is looking good. My husband is thrilled with this and he's very excited. He can hardly wait for it to cool completely, but it takes a little while and then you have to chill it also if you want it to be served just right.
I hope I gave you some healthy cooking inspiration today. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one.